Video 3.4, COVID-19 and Managing the Supply Chain Risk and Disruption. Could COVID-19 be the black swan event that finally forces many companies and entire industries to rethink and transform their global supply chain model? One fact is beyond doubt. We have already seen the pandemic expose the vulnerabilities of many organizations, especially those who have a high dependence on international companies to fulfill their need for raw materials or finished products. China's dominant role as the world's factory meant that any major disruption puts global supply chain at risk. Highlighting this is the fact that more than 200 of the Fortune Global 500 firms have a presence in Wuhan, the highly industrialized province where the outbreak originated, and which has been hardest hit. Companies whose supply chain is reliant on Tier 1 or Tier 2 suppliers in China are likely to experience significant disruption. And according to most optimistic results, conditions may approach normalcy sometime next year. And this is we're going to be 3 years into this supply chain disruption by the time that comes. So as the pandemic continues to spread and present ups and downs, and we move with the ebbs and flow of it, here's some measures that you can take to protect your supply chain operations. If your supplies come from if your company has business relationships and your staff has to travel for those business relationships to continue, it's important to educate your employees on COVID symptoms and prevention, reinforce your screening protocols, be prepared for increased absenteeism as your staff moves back out into the world to sell. You could talk to your staff about restricting non-essential travel and promoting flexible working arrangements, and prepare succession plans for key executive positions, as well as focus on cash flow. If you have a company that manufactures, produces, or sources things from either large suppliers and manufacturers or you're manufacturing, you need to make sure that whether you own the manufacturing plant or you're buying from someone else, that there is a focus on workforce and labor planning, that you can extend the supply network, that you're looking at the extensions of that. You look at your inventory policies. You might want to up what you're keeping in stock and when you're ordering. You need to be prepared for your suppliers' plants to completely close at times, or your own plants. And you need to focus on production scheduling agility and evaluate alternative outbound logistics options. There's a lot of issues with transportation and trucking these days, and you've got to have alternatives. For your companies that sell products or commodities, you'll need to understand if there's a specific impact to the demand of the products you sell. You might see people shifting the channels that they get their products from. You might have terrible inbound logistics options. You're going to have to really keep the communication channels open with your customers and also prepare for the rebound when it comes. Looking ahead, through COVID, we have been able to see that most companies are not fully aware of the vulnerability of their supply chain. And we all have vulnerabilities, whether it's something little we need to run our office, and ink for the computer and printer, paper for the printer. These are all supply chain, all have supply chain cracks, and they can impact businesses in small and large ways. Fortunately, there's new technologies that are emerging that can improve our supply chain, but until they're in place, and that could be 10 or 15 years, we need to figure out how to get around them. leverage your advanced technologies such as the internet, artificial intelligence, robotics, anything that can help you meet those future challenges so that whether or not the next time this happens, you know, a pandemic or even a trade war or active war, terrorism or regulatory changes or labor disputes, um, you will be ready to deal with the unexpected. So it's important to take a good look at your supply chain as you move forward with this.